Can you talk about the test mentioned in Teams and the best way to prepare for it? So the test mentioned in Teams, um, the test is something that normally everyone would do. Okay. This year, though, I've got, people have fallen behind for whatever reason. Some people have little siblings to look afterwards. Some people, these are hard times and, you fall into moods and things like that, and it's hard to motivate yourself to keep going. So this test is, I'm calling it enriched content, which just means it's enriched. So if you have already completed everything and you're like, you know what, I would really like to make sure I know everything about this unit. I want sort of a summative assessment of everything I know about this. You can take this test. It's going to have, I think it's 23 questions. Okay. And they will be mixed up. It'll be like there will be a name, there will be a formula. If I write the formula, you're going to give the name. If I write the name, you're going to give the formula. Okay. And you will actually do it like on paper or you'll type it in. So if you're typing the test, you know, um, one thing that you would like to know is that if you type in control and then plus, okay, this is if you're typing on a PC, not a Mac. Mac is a little different. You'd have to look it up. I don't have a Mac myself, so I don't know what their thing is. But if you type control plus, that will, let's say I typed NA, I would try NA control plus, and then I would type 2, and then I would type control plus again to get out of subscript. So control plus takes you in and out of subscript. Whoops, not superscript, subscript. And then I would type CR, and then maybe I want a 2. So I would again type control plus 2, and then I would type control plus again to get me out of subscript. That would allow me to type O, and then control plus 7, and then control plus to get out of subscript. So control plus takes you in and out of subscript. If you don't like doing it that way, you can always like um, highlight your text, and then up in your menus somewhere, there's going to be a subscript function. If you can't find it, there's a lovely little search GUI, like with the little magnifying glass. It looks like, I mean, literally, it looks like this up top. And if you click on that little magnifying glass in, say, Word, you can just look up subscript and it will tell you how to do it. Okay. So that's how you would type it if you wanted to type it in. If you want to write this test just by, handwriting it, totally fine. You can either print it out for yourself or just write your answers on a sheet of paper. So you would write like number 1 and then say my answer was NA2 CR207. I could write that down. Once I am done all of that, I can either take a picture of it, or one thing that I've been told has been really good is to download yourself a scanning app. I haven't actually tried this myself, but my grade 12s and a lot of other teachers are all over this. So maybe I'll take a look into what some good apps are today. I have an Android, so if you have an iDevice, you might need to look up something yourself, but download a scanning app. And the reason that this is really nice is that it will allow you to scan it and it will put it as a PDF. Okay. And one of the things that's really nice about this, you wouldn't need it for this assignment. I don't think you're going to need more than one page, but it is really annoying as a teacher. Don't worry, we'll still do it if you upload things, but you might get 3 pages of of stuff and the writing is going sideways, and then the next one it's going this way. And so we have to click through all these documents and turn our screen sideways or cut and paste it into a Word document and then turn it around and do all kinds of things. But if you use one of these scanning apps, it will put it all right side up and it'll put it all in one document. And that makes our lives really much easier. And if you think your life is complicated, imagine trying to keep track of like approximately 180 people for any given week. It's challenging, let me tell you. Yeah, so anything that I can do to make your lives easier, I will try to do. Anything you can do to make my life easier, I would appreciate it if you'd give it a try anyway. Technology being what it is, I'm sure some of you will have more success than others because yeah, technology, but yeah, give it a try. Okay, so that was just talking about how to do it. Now, why would you do it? You would write this test if you wanted to, like, see if you know everything from this unit. This is one of the things that you'll have a unit on this in grade 10, you'll have a unit on this in grade 11, and wouldn't it be nice in grade 11 if you were just like, oh my gosh, I totally know how to do this already. I can focus on my history project this week instead of, trying to learn the chemical formulas, which I should have learned back in grade 9 and 10. Okay, so the better you know this stuff, the easier it's going to make your life in those higher grades. So that's why you might want to do it. It is enriched, so it is optional. Okay? And the reason it's optional is because some people have fallen behind, like I said earlier. And this, if you're not doing that test this week, this would be a good week to catch up on all the individual quizzes. Does that mean you'll never be able to do the test if you want to? No, it'll just sit there. You can do it anytime you want to between now and the end of the year. If this is a really busy week for you, don't worry about doing the test this week. You could always do it next week if that's a little more of a chill week for you. Okay, best way to prepare for it. There are documents in that assignment called test prep. Okay, and that's just a lot of practice. So how to prepare. You're going to do the test prep. These are practice worksheets. Number two, if you're working through the test prep and you have questions, you are going to ask your questions. Not all of you have teacher parents at home. My son has a teacher parent at home, and anytime he's looking frustrated, I'm like, okay, what's your problem, kid? And he'll be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, ask your teacher. That's what they're there for. Um, Absolutely. Ask your questions. So if you have a question during this session, that's great. I really want you to ask it. I have one block of Chemistry 11, and they ask questions all the time. And it's actually kind of nice because right now it's like I'm talking to myself. It's really weird. All I hear is my own voice. Occasionally, I'll see a little thing in the chat. But if you want to unmute yourself at any point and ask a question, please do so. Don't want to ask on this particular medium, you can email, you can ask on Teams. I am all over all of these devices. Well, not all day long. I try and knock off at 3, but I don't often succeed. But yeah, absolutely, just ask your questions. Third way you can prepare for it, study your flowcharts. Okay, both flowcharts, there's one for naming and there's one for formulas. And both of them are in our Teams files. Okay. Whoops. Formulas. Okay, because the biggest reason that people get things wrong is that they haven't memorized their rules yet. Okay. Or they're not following the steps in the rules. They're seeing, this was a really common one, and I'm not quite sure why. BA3, P2, so many people in the quiz said try barium diphosphide. And I'm like, why are we doing that? Because barium, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look it up. Is it a metal? And the answer is yes, it is a metal. And so you are going to say, well, if it is a metal, you have learned your rules at this point, hopefully. And if you haven't, you're going to. If it is a metal, then I know it is ionic. And if it is ionic, then I know do not use prefixes. So I'm not kidding. Like there's two ways to do this studying. Number one is to do the practice worksheets which will help you apply those rules. But sometimes it's worthwhile just studying your flowcharts. Practice writing the dang flowchart down. Practice using the flowchart as you go through the materials. Go through those steps and say, do I have a metal at the front? Do I have ammonium at the front? Um, when do I leave off mono? Ask yourself those things all the time. And as you're going through each question, apply them. Yeah. Oh, and if you do the test and you're like, oh, I didn't do very well, I want to go back and study some more and do it again, that's absolutely fine. I have a couple versions of it. Will we have finals? Yeah, if anyone wants to stick around and ask questions after class, you absolutely can do that. Will you have finals? I'm gonna say no this year because it just seems too complicated. Um, I don't want to come up with one. You probably don't want to write one. Yeah.